Well, hello and welcome to a big episode of the Jock and Journo podcast. It is preliminary final weekend, one of the best weekends of the year, let's be honest. Some people like the grand final weekend. I think this is almost more significant in a sense. We'll get to that in a second. It's Jay Clark here and a man fresh off a trip to the Day Springs. I saw him pampering himself in his own Instagram. Hello, Scott Pendlebury.
Hello, mate. How are you? Yeah, I went down to Alba Hot Springs on Saturday.
Who enjoys that more, you or your wife? I saw you getting around in your robe.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah, I pushed to get down there. So I was, it was awesome, nice and relaxing, and bathed myself for a while, and then we shot back up to Melbourne. So it was nice and relaxing instead of getting beaten up for the weekend on the footy field. It just bit of self-care goes a long way.
So does it feel like, do you feel like you're running on top of the ground again? Do you feel like you've had a little freshen up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Is it a positive thing to have the week
at my age, it's certainly a positive thing. It's, I feel completely fresh, ready to go. 3 or 4 great training sessions together in a row. So now it's, now we're looking forward to it. It felt good on Saturday night to get a target, though, to play against, because you're sort of sitting in no man's land for a little bit, wondering what's going to happen. And, now we've got a target and something to prepare for, so we'll lock in and get to work.
Like a good grandpa, you need your pipe and slippers and a comfy chair, and that's how I picture you across the weekend, just resting up. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some amazing preliminary final memories. You've had some absolute crackers in your time. I think of the Luke Ball game. Think of the Mason Cox game. And GWS, have you guys got some beef with the Giants? Because they did you cold. They upset you 2019 in the wet. I remember it, sitting on the boundary line in pouring rain all afternoon. He had, I think, 20 inside 50s or thereabouts in the last quarter and still lost. So is the GWS loss?
No, I think it's, and we'll talk about this later, but just any prelim final that you lose, they're hard to swallow, just because you know what's on the line. And that's why finals footy is the best, because there's just so much every week that you play for. And, you see first week of finals when sides get eliminated, the players drop to the ground, head in the hands, because that's it. Like you've all that hard work, and essentially that's it. The door shuts on your season. So, I've played in, I think I've played in like 3 or 4 prelims that I've lost by under a goal. So, they're tough to swallow. But
do they hurt more than the grand final loss? Because I would imagine getting to the grand final is a huge reward and pride. I know it hurts you lose, but I reckon it would hurt more not getting to the grand final. Did the prelim finals losses sting you more than 2008?
Yeah, I know what you mean. In some sense they do, because you sort of would love to just get to the grand final and see how you would have gone. I know even last year, for example, losing to the Swans by a point, and then you sit there a week later thinking, this could be us. Because especially if you lose by a point, you're like, geez, give us 30 more seconds or a minute or whatever. Like, they sort of flip a coin. And so they hurt a bit, just because you're so close, but that's it. Like, it's just so sudden too when you finish. Like, it's, you're preparing to train, all this sort of stuff. Then it's like game over, done. Like, I'll see you in January.
Yeah.
So, they do hurt. And, and then even, losing a grand final, they hurt as well. But the prelims, just because you're so close to actually getting, like, everyone wants to get to the grand final. So losing those ones, knowing how close you've been, they do hurt a fair bit.
Do you remember 2019? What happened in the last quarter? Remember you had all the play.
Yeah,
the ball was down your forward line. Brody Grundy had 95 hit-outs or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and you couldn't capitalise.
Yeah, I remember we just it's one of those days where it was tough conditions. It was a real, almost like that Winters finals game. I think they beat us by 4 points in the end. Yep. It was like 56-52 or something like that. And
Zach Williams played the game of his life. Toby Green didn't even play.
Yeah, he was standing in the race. It's just it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like, I always feel proud of the effort whenever we play. Like, because I know we left it all out there. We weren't trying to lose, and I think we were a fair way down too. Not a fair way down, but like 3 or 4 goals, and we made a big charge. Joshie Thomas kicked a goal, and we got right back in the game.
Yep.
So super proud of that. And then just couldn't get it done. And as I said, I think my first prelim we lost by 5 points in 2007 to the Cats.
Oh yes. So take me back there, because the Cats were a champion side. They were cherry ripe, and you were sort of more on the rise. I remember that, correct?
Yeah. So the 2006 Sydney West Coast were the 2 grand finals, 2 years in a row, the grand final. So the first final of 2007, we had a bit of a theme of the underdogs.
Yep.
No one give us a chance. So we played Sydney in the first final in Melbourne.
Was it Mick Frothing?
Yeah, no, it was like Sydney, I think just lost the flag the year before. They'd won it 2 years earlier. So Mick had us all so revved up about no one rates us, and then we come out and we beat Sydney.
Backs to the wall.
Yeah, and then we went over to West Coast and we played them, and that was the one where Cousins didn't play, Judd didn't play,
Yeah, good
Kerr
one.
played.
Was that the extra time game?
The extra time game. So we played over there, and much similar. Like no one gave us a chance to win that one because
You kicked a big goal late.
Yeah, I kicked one in the extra time
Yep.
period. So and Swanee kicked the next one, I think, as well, and we won by I think 2 goals in the extra time, and then we
On the road against the champs.
So we just knocked off the 2 last reigning premiers.
Yeah.
And then
Feeling
we
pretty
come
good
up-
about yourselves.
Yeah, so then you come up, and we were young. Like we were a young group.
You and Daisy,
Me, Daisy,
Yep.
Travis Cloak,
Yep.
like Alan Tuvey,
kids.
Marty Clark, the Irishman.
You were 20.
Yes, I was 20 at the
Yep.
time. And then, so we had that. And then we played Geelong in the 07. And all week, the All-Australian side got announced that week. And they had like 11 guys or 15 guys in the squad.
Enright, Ling,
Yeah.
Ablett,
Yeah.
Bartel, Corey.
So it was the lead up to that game was really like, for me, it was an eye-opener of just the motivation and the mental warfare that goes on. And Mick had them as like the All-Australian side versus the rest type thing when we played. So
He was calling them the All-Australian
they were
team.
the All-Australian side, and we were the side. We were the side no one rated. We don't have good players. I don't think we had anyone in the All-Australian squad
Really?
of 40.
Nick Maxwell, maybe.
No,
Not even.
definitely not. That was 2007. Maxi, I think, made it in 2010. But
Right.
yeah, so it was all about how good they were, how crap we were.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be there. They've already won the grand final.
So he was winding you up all week like that.
And because nobody would have given us any chance.
Yeah.
And we lost that game by 5 points, and we had moments too
Was that
where
the
it was
Brad
close.
Ottens game? Did he have a big game in the ruck?
Yeah. I feel like he had a few massive ones in the ruck.
Against you. Yeah.
So and I remember it's just the ball might have been on our half forward flank or got really close and the siren went. Scotty Burns had it, and that's when as I said, I've said this before on the show that I'm really grateful and appreciative of the fact that I've got to play in these games like from the get go. So it's not. I'm not surprised by how much they mean, how hard they are to win, and finals footy. My earliest memories of finals was I was a massive Melbourne supporter growing up. It was 2000 prelim, Melbourne, North Melbourne. Nobody gave Melbourne, it was supposed to be North Essendon the final week in the granny.
Yeah.
Jeff Farmer comes out, kicks 8 goals.
Sat on heads.
Stephen Powell kicked 4 goals too, had 33 touches.
Stephen Powell.
Shoal for North kicked 7 straight.
Yep.
It was 100. I was just looking at the scores before. 156 to 106 in a prelim final.
Wow.
Shows you how much footy's changed since then. But
Yeah.
this is why. And the finals and the prelim crowds are just insane.
We're going to talk about Nick Daicos and his return, Taylor Adams, in 1 second. Hey, I want to ask you a question, Scott. Are September scars a real thing? I've been spending the whole week talking about Melbourne,
Yep.
the second straight sets exit, and spoke to Jake Lever after the game. He was quite emotional, and I don't know whether sometimes players say things in the moment, and I don't know whether they'd say the same thing 2 or 3, 4 days later, right?
Yeah.
And he sort of said, well, this could either make us or it could really haunt us, the second straight finals exit, having all the opportunities and not executing, right? Can you be scarred by a finals loss or an agonising loss? You think about some of your biggest losses over your career, over 924 games. How do you overcome them, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have final scars or anything like that. I've got memories, good ones, bad ones. But my thing is what's the alternate? Not put yourself there because it hurts. It's gonna hurt. You're not just gonna go make finals 3 years, win 3 grand finals, and then just not make finals. It hurts.
Yeah,
being there. But the worst years of my footy career have been the years I haven't played finals.
Yeah,
you might have been finished in round 21 because you knew you weren't going to make it.
Yeah.
And then, you're playing the kids and you're playing different positions and it's just for nothing.
Yep.
That to me is that hurt more than, losing last year than by a point because I'm happy to put it all on the line every time.
Yeah.
To chase the ultimate success.
Yeah.
And, I've
be brave enough to put yourself in the arena.
Absolutely. Be the man in the arena, not the one sitting there watching the man in the arena.
Yep.
Sort of that's the thing. It's just I'd happily put myself out there every time because you're going to hurt or you're going to feel the ultimate success and that pride and joy. And you're not feeling it though if you finish at round 22. There's no alternate. You've got to be in it to win it. So
your advice to Melbourne and Port Adelaide, who have just gone out in straight sets, is go again.
Yeah, well, I think you got it. It's the playing group that makes the decision. It's not the coaches and how you do this and who you can bring in. There's not a missing, like I always hear that, the missing piece. They need to go get the war chest and spend it on this guy or whatever. It's you can almost tell how they're going to go by how they rock up day one of preseason. Like, are they hungry? Did they all do what they needed to do? Or did they just think, this is all too hard? Because it is. It's hard work. It's a lot of hard work because they're done now and you can't get this back. But they have to front up again in December 1 or whenever they're back in shape. You got to do all the work and there's no guarantees that you get back there. But as I said,
so you got to stay hungry.
The alternative is don't do the work.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you won't get back there.
Finish 15th.
Yeah. And then, you can go to Europe in September and put up some cool gram photos of you at the Coliseum and all this sort of stuff, living the best life. But
Ibiza.
I'm telling you, the ultimate is being in it. And the position that the four sides find themselves in now, and I'm fortunate enough to be part of one, is we're still chasing the dream.
And
living it and the prep and all that sort of stuff. And Melbourne have gone out straight sets 2 years in a row, is it?
Yep.
Like, to me, though, they're putting themselves in the arena.
Yeah.
I know it hurts losing, but they would be of the belief that they should have won 2 finals games.
Yeah.
Kick straight, we win, whatever it is. So they're Brisbane Lions, for example, they've lost a few final series, but now they've got a home prelim. Like, they keep putting themselves in the arena. It doesn't just happen. Like, I'd love to be sitting here like like the Richmond boys. I think they played their first final series was 17. They didn't make it in 16. Go all the way, 17. 18, it hurt. Then look how they bounce back. 19, they get it done. 20, they get it done. Like, keep putting yourself in the arena, keep turning up, and just give yourself a chance.
I wonder whether Melbourne can almost be a Hawthorn. Remember Melbourne 2008, Hawthorn 2008 won, and then 9 partied. Hodgie said partied too hard. 2009 didn't get in the finals. 2010, I don't think they lost the final against Freo in Perth, or they're in the West. Yeah. So they had that 2 years of failure, and then I think made their way back, and we know 12, 13, 14, 15. So I wonder that
Melbourne first try got it done, didn't they? Like, well, no, they were there in 18, weren't they? 18, and then they had a few years out. So 18, they got smacked by West Coast in the prelim over there.
Yeah, beat Geelong the week before. 19,
20, I don't think they made it, and then 21, they went. So there was that prior pain in 18. Yeah, and then they might have responded. Like, you almost could argue that's worse, not making the final after getting so close. They missed the finals for 2 years. Yep. Now they're putting themselves in the arena, and that's all you can do.
Do the 2 COVID flags in your mind count as much as the other ones, or is there an asterisk on the Richmond 2020, Melbourne 2021 COVID? Is there an asterisk on those? Those two?
Absolutely not. Like, they were hard flags to win because, like, there was so much going against every side, and like, the whole world stopped, and living in weird circumstances and all that sort of stuff. So if they want to offer them to us, we'll take them. But
people do. You have that conversation at the pub with people, and they go, "Oh, that was a COVID flag."
Well, I think everyone that didn't play finals that year, they sort of just write it off. Oh, it's a tough year for us because COVID. But the sides who go on and win it, they're
West
not
Coast
going,
cracked it.
Yeah. Well, tough times, as everyone knows.
Yeah, it certainly was. Hey, your man Nick Daicos, what's he been like in the inner sanctum this week? He's going to play. His leg's good.
Not just this week.
He's been training, buzzing around like a mosquito, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think ever since it happened, he's just done everything in his power to get himself right. And obviously the ultimate sort of timeline for Nick was play the first final. If we could win, it just gave him the perfect prep. He didn't have to rush anything. Yep. Time was on his side. So, I know after that Melbourne game, he was as excited as anyone that, he didn't have to rush it. He didn't have to, like, take 3 or 4 steps really quickly. He's had a really good prep, and we had a little intra-club the other night on Friday before the Carlton Melbourne game, and he was playing it. He's just flying around like normal and had the ball in the hand like normal all the time, and nice if he shared it around a little bit. But it's great. It's great to have him back, and he's such a generator for us of enthusiasm, excitement. And it's not often this time of year you get your best player back into your side that hasn't been there for a few weeks. So
is it a mood lifter? I know.
Oh, absolutely.
I know you.
Not just because of the player he is. Obviously, he's a fantastic player, but he gives so much energy and excitement, and the way he plays is so fun. Like, it's run, it's dare, it's exciting, it's risk taking. Like, that all is good to play with. It's not just like how cool he's so good at footy. It's like he gives energy to everyone. He loves it. Like, he's been
Yeah.
the change rooms, he's walking around with the footy, like just pot shotting everyone, like kicking at bins and doors and all that sort of stuff. So it's great. And yeah, it's never nice when you see it taken away from like just anyone in general, like long-term injury lists. I mean, injuries or short-term, whatever. Like when they lose, they can't just get out. Like he's loved just being back in training.
Yep.
Like that's the stuff you miss the most. And then game day is just where he goes and does what he does.
Carries himself unbelievably well. I've said it before, but he's an absolute beauty. Nick Daicos, such a polite and grounded young man. Wish him the absolute best. On the flip side of this coin, Scott, there is absolute heartbreak for a mate, for a bloke you played with for a long time now, Taylor Adams. So you talk about the match sim.
Yeah.
He cops the knock and strains his hamstring, goes straight into the rooms. You go down the club, you see him, and you say,
"Oh, I just gave him a hug. Just said, I'm like feeling for you. Anything I can do in the next 48 hours, week, whatever." And then, but
was he devastated?
Yeah, he's devastated because he's going to miss out on a prelim, but the carrot's still there for him to get up for, if we can, lucky enough to get up and win, there's a carrot there for him that if he goes all his way and ticks the boxes, that he can be part of a grand final. So, he didn't dwell on it too long. He was back in the club the next day swimming. He was running around the track yesterday, getting some conditioning in.
You're all giving him a high five. Was it uplifting to you're all giving him a high
Yeah,
five?
he ran past us and
was that uplifting?
I think his speed went above where it should have because he got a nice little kick. Yeah, it's great. Just seeing him back, as I said, like on the track with the boys, happy. That's when you feel the most comfortable, when you're amongst the group and you feel part of it. Because rehab is I haven't spent much time in there, but it's a pretty lonely place because you're in there for long hours and you're doing all those things when you just want to be part of the group. So, and he's given so much to our club over so long. So, yeah, you definitely feel for him, but he's doing everything in his power to make sure that we can get up this week.
Been very selfless in his forward role, Tay Adams. Missed last year's finals with that groin, which was pretty significant.
Yeah,
he said
off the bone in that second quarter.
He said in January there was a moment where he thought he was done. He thought his whole career was over. He just couldn't keep going.
Yeah.
But
he's rebounded really well, like from that, because that was that's like an adductor off the bone. I heard him scream when it happened.
Really?
And it was
painful.
Yeah, I felt sore. So
he has done a lot of work to get back to this, so it is heartbreaking for him and any athlete. And he's good on the big stage. Remember, go back to 2018, the grand final. He was your best player.
Yeah,
second in the Norm Smith medal.
He's been all finals really. He's a proven finals record. So he'll be sorely missed. What
are the next few days like for you? Have you done the bulk of your work out of the way? You had your main session.
Yeah.
What happens now?
So done. Yeah, pretty much the bulk of the work. So now it's just...
So it was main session Monday?
Main session yesterday it was, yep. And then last Friday, another, big main session. So, now it's just sort of normal prep leading into the game, freshen up.
Back down to the hot springs or not?
No, not back down there.
Okay.
Maybe after we win, get back down there. But, just make sure our prep's good, understand what we've got coming, understand how we take away their strengths, maximise our strengths, all the same sort of stuff that we do, which is really boring, but,
and
the process.
You, having played 900 games, Scott, this won't last forever for you now, right? There is a finality to your career, right?
There is.
I know you could be the next boomer and played, genuinely break the AFL games record, wouldn't put it past you. But do you get to this point, and is there an extra sense of reflection in the sense that there are no guarantees you are going to be back on the preliminary final stage again? I know you've already played 8. But do you get do you take that moment to go?
I like it. It's not reflection,
not yet.
I definitely appreciate it, and I'm grateful for the opportunity because 2 years ago we were second bottom on the ladder.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but having the attitude I've got is anything's always possible. So, I feel like if I didn't have that when Bucks left and that, I would have been there's no way our list isn't where it needs to be, and we're going to develop and we're not going to get there. You can have that negative, or you can have just sort of that, don't put a sort of ceiling on what you can achieve. So I've last year finals, this year finals, just taking it all in, enjoying it, having fun. That's probably the main thing, just enjoying these games. And as you said, I know that, I don't have long left in the game. So just really enjoying them, taking it all in, bringing my family along for the ride, all that sort of stuff. Because when you're younger, you just think it's going to happen all the time.
Yep. And you have played in a lot of...
which is
very successful.
Yeah, so but I just still appreciate the moments, get out there, but then I understand once that siren sounds, I've got a job to do and just go out there and try and execute my role the best I can for our side, and then hopefully we get the job done.
All right, Scotty, that is a nice little warm-up to Friday night's preliminary final. You take on the GWS Giants, who are riding some sort of wave of momentum. Your packed-out MCG. Collingwood fans will be in full voice. It has been great to take a little walk down memory road.
Hasn't it? Loved it.
I like that. All right, we'll enjoy the game, mate. Absolutely all the best. We will see you at the footy. Footy fans, have a great week and enjoy the best weekend of the year.
Thank you.
Bye for now.